You've probably seen the news that there was another assassination attempt at former President Trump lately. And for the second time, he foiled the plot against his life once more. But he's not the only political leader who made it to the other side unscathed. Today, we'll explore the jaw dropping stories of individuals who, against all odds, cheated death and lived to tell the tale. Was it sheer luck, bravery, or just pure coincidence? Whatever the case may be, we'll delve into all the circumstances surrounding these shocking details. From heads of state to church leaders, these are the luckiest 7 survivors of assassination attempts in history. Here's the history. We're glad you could join us for some fascinating facts about these 7 slaughter survivors. If we missed anyone, do let us know in the comments. Number 7. President Gerald Ford. President Trump joins a long list of American presidents who have had assassination attempts while in office. And among the luckiest in this list is President Gerald Ford, who had not 1 but 2 assassination attempts in just the span of 17 days. The year was 1975, and American society was going through a general feeling of restlessness in the face of Watergate and the Vietnam War. One of those feeling the unease was Lynette Squeaky Fromm, an idealistic 26-year-old who was a big follower of Charles Manson. She felt that President Ford, being the government's top boss, was responsible for the rising levels of automobile smog reaching the rural parts of the state, thus damaging the redwoods. So, on September 5 of that year, she stalked President Ford as he made his way to a meeting with wealthy Californian business leaders in Sacramento. She aimed her M1911 pistol at him, but, as fate would have it, the pistol jammed. And then, on September 22, President Ford was once again facing danger, now in the hands of Sarah Jane Moore, an accountant and a divorcee mother of 4. President Ford was just leaving from his speaking engagement in downtown San Francisco when Moore pulled a single shot from her .38 caliber revolver, missing Ford by several feet. In both circumstances, President Ford was unhurt. Lynette Fromm and Sarah Jane Moore were both imprisoned and released on parole on 2009 and 2008 respectively. Number 6. Hirohito, Prince Regent of Japan. The fateful attempt at Hirohito's life would be infamously known in Japan's history as the Toranomon Incident, which took place in December 27, 1923. Crown Prince Hirohito was visiting the National Legislative House when Daisuke Nanba fired a small pistol at his carriage. Albeit that an accompanying chamberlain was injured, only the carriage window was heavily damaged. Hirohito was completely unharmed. Daisuke Nanba harbored a strong desire to avenge the victims of the Kanto massacre, wherein thousands of Koreans and Japanese leftists were slaughtered by the Imperial Japanese government. Nanba claimed he was rational, but the court found him insane, sentencing him to death in the following year. As for Hirohito, he faithfully ascended to the throne in December 1926 as Emperor Showa and became Japan's monarch until his death in January 7, 1989. Hirohito became the oldest and the longest reigning emperor in all of Japan's history, staying in the throne for almost 63 years. Number 5. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner became president, then vice president of Argentina between the years 2007 to 2023. Throughout her political career, she has faced multiple coups and plots against her. But nothing has been more terrifying than her assassination attempt on September 1, 2022. She had just returned home when a throng of supporters rallied around her. One of those joining the crowd was Fernando Montiel, a Brazilian-born migrant to Argentina. De Kirchner was just steps away from her official residence in Buenos Aires when she literally came face to face with her assailant, pointing a gun to her face. Fernando Montiel pulled the trigger, but the pistol didn't fire. You can see here the exact moment when Vice President de Kirchner recoils at seeing the gun pointed to her face. The assailant tried to pull the trigger twice, but both times failed. The trial against Fernando Montiel and his co-conspirators began last June 26, 2024. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, on the other hand, has her own legal woes from all the corruption charges filed against her throughout her time in the highest offices. Number 4. Otto von Bismarck. He wasn't called the Iron Chancellor for nothing. Otto von Bismarck, who started his political career at 32 in Prussia, rose to the ranks as one of German history's most important figures. In 1866, tensions between Prussia and Austria were increasing, brought about by clashing ambitions over Schleswig-Holstein, which both states seized from Denmark in 1864. Von Bismarck exploited these tensions to provoke a war with Austria, aiming to unify Germany under Prussian leadership. This heavily angered Ferdinand Cohen-Blind, a young idealistic student who saw von Bismarck as the architect of the Civil War. On the afternoon of May 7, 1866, Cohen-Blind stalked von Bismarck at the Unter den Linden, a major boulevard in central Berlin, as he walked home. Cohen-Blind fired 2 shots at von Bismarck from behind. Von Bismarck spun around and grabbed the revolver from his assailant, who fired 3 more shots at him. Later that evening, when he was examined by the king's personal physician, he found out that the first 3 bullets had only grazed his body. The other 2 bullets, however, actually ricocheted off his ribs, but did no significant harm to his vital organs. Cohen-Blind committed suicide shortly after his arrest. Otto von Bismarck then became paramount in unifying Germany into a single nation-state, establishing the country as a major European power. Number 3. Salman Rushdie. Fate really has a way of playing tricks sometimes. On August 12, 2022, best-selling author Salman Rushdie was in Western New York for a panel on violence against writers. Little did he know that he would experience exactly that in just a matter of minutes. The Indian-born British-American writer is known for prolific books that blend magical realism with historical fiction. But it's his 4th book that has really earned him attention, even the undesirable kind. His 1988 book, The Satanic Verses, was inspired by the life of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. It was so controversial that Iran's supreme leader at that time issued a fatwa, or a legal Islamic ruling, for Rushdie's assassination. The $3 million bounty on his head led him to go into hiding. But as the decades passed, Rushdie's strict security became more and more laxed. That's probably why it was easy for his assailant, Hadi Matar, to lunge at him with a knife while he was giving his talk. Matar stabbed Rushdie 15 times, even striking his right eye, which is now completely blind. A few months ago, he launched his newest book titled Knife: Meditations After an Attempted Murder. Number 2. Pope John Paul II. 43 years ago, a ghastly incident in Rome shocked the world. Pope John Paul II was doing his daily blessing of the faithful who flocked to St. Peter's Square to see him, when suddenly, at close range, 4 shots were fired at him. Pope John Paul II collapsed into the arms of his aides, suffering severe blood loss. May 13, 1981, will always go down as one of the Catholic Church's most tragic days in its modern history. The Pope was a well-loved figure, and not just in the Christian world, but outside the realms of the Church too, for he was central in helping communism end in his native Poland and in many other parts of Europe. On that fateful day, Mehmet Ali Aja made it his mission to kill Pope John Paul II in Rome. The Turkish assassin believed that the Pope was the masked leader of the Crusades. While it is a blessing that the Pope had survived, what makes the story really fortuitous is what happened right after. In 1983, Pope John Paul II privately met Aja at his prison, with the Pope forgiving him for what he did. They became friends, showing believers and non-believers alike the power of forgiveness. Aja was sentenced to life in prison, but in the year 2000, at the Pope's request, he was pardoned by the Italian president and was deported back to Turkey. And Pope John Paul II's impact must have been so great on him that in 2007, Aja converted to Catholicism. Number 1. King Edward I. We placed King Edward, the Hammer of the Scots, in this top spot because his assassination attempt was so consequential it changed the course of history. In 1268, 4 years before he ascended to the throne, Edward pledged himself to undertake a crusade. He tried to take the beleaguered Christian stronghold of Acre in Palestine, but experienced deadly pushback from the locals. One night, in June 1272, Prince Edward was already asleep with his wife Eleanor of Castile when a Syrian man came asking to talk to him. They were unaware that this man, who had been serving the prince in Acre, was actually a Muslim spy. When Edward got out of bed to meet him, the spy stabbed him deep on the hip with a poisoned dagger. Edward fought back, grabbed the dagger from the spy, and stabbed this onto his head, killing him. According to lore, Edward's wife, Eleanor, saved him by sucking out the poison with her mouth. While he survived, Edward was severely weakened, prompting him to leave Acre in September 1272 and abandon his Crusades campaign for good. Edward's departure closed out the Ninth Crusades, which was the last significant crusade to the Holy Land, a bookend to one of history's bloodiest periods. And there you have it, 7 extremely lucky survivors who emerged victorious against all odds. Their stories remind us of the resilience of the human spirit and the unpredictability of fate. Whether through sheer luck, incredible fortitude, or a twist of destiny, these survivors have left an indelible mark on history. If we missed a lucky survivor, kindly let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching this exploration into the lives of these extraordinary figures. So here's to history. We're excited to bring you more captivating history topics, so hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to be in the know. See you next time!